What's up, guys? It's been a minute. I apologize for my lack of posting. I want to remind everyone I have a full-time job that is very exhausting, so that's why I haven't been posting. In any case, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, thanks for sticking around. So in my last video, the one that was just titled Big News, because I'm a dumbass, I announced that I got to 100 subscribers, and by this point in time, I'm at like 211 subscribers, so holy crap, guys. What's going on right now? I haven't posted anything since like January, so the fact that I'm like getting new subscribers without even trying is crazy to me, so thank you. That being said, today we have a trick tip, or trick lecture as somebody called it, and I like that better because I over-explain things. This one was pretty highly requested. I know I had at least one person request it like 3 times, so if that was you, this one's for you, buddy. We have the Aerograb, and if you're not familiar with what the Aerograb is or looks like, you must have been living under a rock or something, but I'll show you. It's this one right here. All right, I think I've bored you with my face long enough. Let's get to it, yeah? Alright, step 1 of the Aerograb is to pop and step. Now there's a couple different things that I want to say with regards to this step. The first being, when you're rolling into this trick, you're going to be in fakie position, but you're going to want to be carving slightly heel side, and you want to be leaning back a little bit. So when you pop that board, it's going to come flying up at your face, and trust me when I say you want to be out of the way. Now, the second thing I want to say is, if you'll notice in the video, I'm doing a little crisscross motion with my feet, right? So my back foot is coming up and over my front foot, and that's the first foot that's gonna hit the ground. And that can be kind of technical, so practice with it a little bit. But yeah, the back foot is gonna come up and over your front foot. Remember that. Okay, moving on to step 2 of the Aerograb, we have plant and grab. Now, what I mean by plant is basically what I mentioned in step 1, with your back foot coming up and over your front foot, doing sort of a crisscross motion, and your back foot being the first foot to hit the ground. And I'm going to reiterate right now the importance of that, because if you try to do it the other way around, it's just not going to work and you're going to look wonky, and I want you guys to look steezy as hell. Now, with the grab, I have a couple important notes. So from the time the board leaves the ground and touches the ground again in this trick, the board is going to do a complete 540. So when you grab the board, you want to grab it after it's done a 180, which is essentially right after you pop it. So with this part, think about it as you're popping the board into your hand rather than grabbing the board out of the air, and that should help your timing with this part of the trick. Step 3 of this trick, we have step and rotate. Now I know I've been talking about your feet a lot, but honestly, the footwork of this trick is kind of technical, and it's going to be make or break. So if you're just starting out, if you're just learning this trick, take your time with it, really practice. If you have to watch a couple times, that's okay. Trust me, I was there at one point. It is confusing. Speaking of confusing, remember the foot that was your front foot to start the trick, and then like by extension became your back foot because you crossed over it with your back foot? Yeah, that one. That one's gonna become your front foot again. So swing that bad boy out and plant it on the ground. Now personally, I like to take a little bit of a wider stance, as you can see in the video. I feel like it helps me with my overall stability in this trick. That's not something that you have to do, it's just something that I like to do. Now, as that's all happening, the board is still rotating, right? Now, a helpful point to mention here is that I like to act like my hand is just a hinge that the board is rotating around, okay? So yes, you're gonna have to use a little bit of muscle to keep the board up, but after you pop the board's gonna do the rotating by itself. So the grab is really just to guide the board around. So if that helps you at all, I know it helped me. Just think about your hand is really just guiding the board. It's not really doing any of the rotating itself, it's just guiding it. Moving forward, we have my personal favorite step of this trick, or really any trick for that matter. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love to jump. So I'm going to mention again, just as a disclaimer, that you do not have to jump as high as I do. I'm just very, very extra. In fact, if you're just starting out and just learning this trick, I recommend that you don't jump this high because you're going to get yourself hurt. And quite frankly, I don't have enough money to hire a lawyer. So, a couple important points to make here. One, I know it probably looks like I'm just sort of tossing the board under my feet, but it's more of a gentle guide and place motion. I'm just guiding the board to where I want it and placing it there. And then I'm catching it with my back foot. And that catch with your back foot is going to be vital, because if you're in the air, it's going to stop the board where you want it, and it's going to keep it there so that you can land and roll away safely. All right, final step of the Aerograb is just to land and roll away. I really have only one thing to say about this step, and that is to just make sure you're bending your knees. As you can see in the video, my knees are bent to absorb impact when I land. And that's super important because it's going to stop you from getting injured. So please, 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 when you land any trick, bend your knees. Do not land stiff-legged. If I catch you landing stiff-legged, I'm gonna get stern and tell you to bend your knees when you land. All right. So if you've made it this far in the video and you feel confident enough to go out into the world by yourself and try this trick, that's awesome. I am so happy for you, but I am going to put some practice steps in now. And if you try this trick and you decide you need the practice tips, they'll always be here right at the end for you. With every fairly complicated trick, not that this is anything super crazy, but you're gonna wanna break it into steps when you first start trying to practice this. You might not even need these specific practice routines, just however you want to break the trick up into steps. But I'm going to show you how I learned this trick starting now. Okay, first things first, you're going to want to make sure you are comfortable taking that first step off the board and planting your foot on the ground, doing that crisscross motion as I mentioned earlier on in the video. So when I first started learning this trick, I did this a bunch of times until I felt comfortable enough to move on. Okay, so when I was first learning the Aerograb, after I felt comfortable enough with what I just showed you, with rolling and popping and planting that foot, after I felt strong enough on that plant foot, I basically broke up the trick into two parts. And the first part is what you're seeing now. Basically, I would just roll into the trick and I would pop, I would plant my foot, I would do the grab, and then I would just walk the rest of the trick out. I wouldn't even finish it until I felt really, really good about that part of the trick. And moving on, we have the second half of the Aerograb. So to practice this one, all you really want to do is act like you're right in the middle of the trick. Start from a standstill position with your hand on the bottom of the board in the place where you're going to grab it, give it a little spin, and just jump back on and roll away. Now, you can see in the video, I sort of progress. I start by just spinning it, placing it on the ground, and then hopping on top. And what you can do with this is just get bigger and bigger. So you can give it a faster spin, you can give it a bigger jump until you feel comfortable with where you want to be, and then you can put all the pieces together into the whole trick.